The British Prime Minister Theresa May will become the first foreign leader to hold talks with the new US President this Friday at the White House. Donald Trump is believed to be keen on sealing a major free trade deal with Britain, which would slash tariffs and make it easier for hundreds of thousands of workers to move between the two countries. At least that's the hope. Anyway, well, for more analysis, I'm joined by Nicola Donidali-Rosi, Managing Editor at Global Risk Insights London. Hello to you. Thank you for coming in. Wow, so it's a big day for Theresa May on Friday. Lots of expectations, especially given all the pressures that she's got from Europe. Do you think we're going to have anything on paper?
I doubt that that's the case, but it'll certainly be a very important first indicator in the relationship.
And I think as well, the fact that she's the first foreign leader, that's quite a coup really, isn't it? That considering all that he said about women, she's a champion of women's rights as well. So there's all of that to consider too. But do you think in terms of trade, if she does manage to come to some kind of agreement, I'm not talking about sealing a deal, maybe that's too ambitious on Friday, but do you think that will give her more leeway, more power with Europe?
Absolutely. I think it has the potential to give her some leverage, which she desperately needs going into post-Article 50 negotiations with the EU. At the same time, she needs to walk a fine line because theoretically there are still a series of limitations in place as to the extent to which the UK can negotiate bilateral deals outside of the EU bloc, so long as it is a EU member. But I think that's exactly her goal. She needs that leverage going into negotiations with the EU.
And we've already seen this week that the markets are on edge. They're on edge for a lot of reasons, but one of them is to do with what's going to be conjured up with Trump. Do you think that we'll get some kind of euphoria if we do get a little slice of a clue of an agreement?
I think so. I think it has the potential on the UK front to benefit special sectors or specific sectors that would benefit from facilitated export channels to the US. There has been talk of the abolishment of some tariff barriers and so forth. At the same time, what Trump is doing on the NAFTA front, trying to renegotiate that with Nieto and with Trudeau, trying to protect certain pockets of blue-collar workers, especially in the US, who haven't quite fared so well over the past 8 years. That'll also, I think, have a strong impact on the market. While a potential UK trade deal, I think, would be more focused on financial services, labor flow between the two countries, and export, abolishing those tariff barriers for key sectors on both sides.
And what sectors, though, do you think could do very well out of UK-US trade?
Well, so that's very interesting. I think, when we think of the UK side, we think pharmaceuticals definitely having potential for easier access to US markets. At the same time, there's quite a pharmaceutical industry in the US as well. So flooding or at least having more US goods on the UK market can result in increased competition to the home players. However, we might see prices go down. Another sector that I can think of is aviation. Of course, companies like Rolls-Royce are very interested in what could come out of this. But I think this would be mostly on the commercial side, given the sort of the defense side is technically still faces sort of protectionist challenges, national security challenges. Every country wants to kind of keep those capabilities for themselves. So we'll have to see sort of how that can do. But there is a potential for certain sectors, yeah, for sure.
I think as well, we've got to go into this with a bit of realism as well, because he's already said very clearly, American jobs for American people, it's all about America comes first. So he's not going to do Britain any favours. I think that's the fact. That's
a good point, I think. At the same time, I think he's more concerned about sort of the lower wage jobs. So I think that his priority, electorally speaking, is to bring some of those jobs back. Many of these jobs have actually left the US because of technological advances and mechanization. When it comes to the UK, I think that it's less of a threat to, for example, he's spoken about the H-1B visa program, and he's not actually against the flow of high-earning migrants into the US. So I think that this falls under the latter category, but that's definitely something that he'll have to keep in mind as he goes into the midterms 2 years from now. So.
All right, thank you very much indeed. I appreciate
that.
So that's Nicola Donidali-Rosi talking to us today from Global Risk Insights about this Friday, and Theresa May. She will meet Donald Trump, the first foreign leader to do so.